Imagine waking up at 3 in the morning for the fifth time that week. Not because you had a nightmare, not because you heard a noise, but because your bladder simply won't let you sleep. You drag yourself to the bathroom in the dark, waiting a long time and producing almost nothing. And when you finally get back to bed, lie down, close your eyes, you already feel like you'll have to get up again soon. If you're a man over 40 and you recognize this scene, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you today. Because what most urologists will never tell you in their office, what big pharmaceutical companies spend fortunes to keep you from discovering, what thousands of men in the United States, Europe, and now Brazil are quietly using to regain control of their health, costs less than $6. And no, it's not a scam. It's not an empty internet promise. It's science. It's biochemistry. And it's accessible to any man willing to listen until the end of this video. My name doesn't matter as much as the information I'm about to share with you today. What matters is that you made it this far, and that already says a lot about you. It says you're not willing to accept aging as a sentence. It says you still want to have energy, drive, a decent night's sleep, and a sex life that makes sense to you. So take a deep breath, because the next 20 minutes could change your relationship with your own body in a way no 15-minute doctor's appointment ever has. Let's start by understanding what happens in a man's body after 40, and not in a technical, boring way, but in a real, honest way. When you turn 40, your body begins to go through a series of hormonal changes that are gradual but devastating if ignored. Testosterone, that hormone that makes you feel strong, focused, present, and alive, starts to decline by about 1% per year from the age of 30. It sounds small, but by the time you reach 50, that accumulated drop is costing you far more than you realize. You feel more tired, your belly grows even if your diet hasn't changed, your sleep becomes fragmented, your libido decreases, and your prostate, that small gland just below your bladder, starts to grow. This growth of the prostate has a medical name, benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. The word benign is there to reassure you, but what it doesn't tell you is that the symptoms are anything but benign. Weak urinary flow, a feeling of incomplete emptying, sudden urgency to urinate, waking up multiple times at night, difficulty starting urination, and in more advanced cases, complete urinary retention, which is a medical emergency. According to data from the American Urological Association, more than 50% of men at age 50 have some degree of BPH. At 60, that number rises to 60%. At 70, it exceeds 80%. In other words, if you're a man and you're alive, the chances of facing this are extremely high. And what does the conventional medical system offer as a solution? Two main options: medications like finasteride or deuterasteride, which block the conversion of testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, the more potent form that affects the prostate, or alpha blockers like tamsulosin, which relax the muscles of the prostate and bladder to make urination easier. Both work to a certain extent, but both have side effects that are rarely discussed openly in the doctor's office. Finasteride can cause persistent erectile dysfunction, loss of libido, and even depression. In some men, these effects continue even after stopping the drug. Alpha blockers often cause retrograde ejaculation, dizziness, and drops in blood pressure when standing up. And the most frustrating part is that these medications rarely solve the problem. They simply manage the symptoms while you keep taking the drug indefinitely, paying month after month and living with side effects as if they were the inevitable price of aging. But what if it wasn't inevitable? What if nature had developed over thousands of years a response to this exact problem, and that response was growing on palm trees in the southern United States used by indigenous tribes for centuries and validated by dozens of modern clinical studies? This is where the story gets very interesting. Saw palmetto, known scientifically as Sereno repens, is the fruit of a small palm tree that grows abundantly in Florida and other southeastern states. The Seminole people used this fruit as both food and medicine for at least 500 years before European colonizers arrived. They empirically discovered what science only confirmed in the 20th century. that extracts from this fruit have a direct and powerful effect on prostate health and the male urinary system, and the mechanism behind it is fascinating. Saw palmetto extract inhibits an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. This is the exact same enzyme that finasteride tries to block chemically. The difference is that saw palmetto does it naturally, without the devastating side effects of the pharmaceutical version. This enzyme is responsible for converting testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, the main aggressor of the prostate. When you reduce circulating DHT, the prostate stops growing, and in many cases, over time, it begins to shrink. Urinary symptoms improve. The stream becomes stronger. Nighttime trips to the bathroom decrease. The feeling of complete emptying returns. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association followed men with BPH using saw palmetto for a year. The results showed significant improvement in urinary symptoms comparable to conventional medications but without adverse effects. Another study conducted in Italy with more than 1,000 patients showed that 72% of men using the standardized extract reported considerable improvement in quality of life related to urinary function. Another paper published in European Urology demonstrated a reduction in prostate volume in patients using saw palmetto for 18 consecutive months. And the price? A bottle with 90 capsules of standardized saw palmetto extract, which lasts about 1.5 to 2 months depending on dosage, costs on average $6 on platforms like Amazon, iHerb, or compounding pharmacies in Brazil. That's less than 30 reales. By comparison, a month of finasteride in Brazil can cost between 80 and 200 reales depending on the brand, and doesn't offer even half of the additional benefits that saw palmetto provides. And speaking of additional benefits, because this is a point few videos on the topic explore deeply, saw palmetto is not just a prostate remedy. It also has a proven effect on maintaining testosterone levels. By blocking excessive conversion of testosterone into DHT, more testosterone remains available in the body. This translates into more energy, better mood, improved body composition, and in many men, improved sexual function. Studies also show anti-inflammatory properties, which is relevant because chronic prostate inflammation, prostatitis, is a separate but equally debilitating condition affecting men of all ages. But let me be honest with you. Saw palmetto is just the centerpiece of this protocol. For it to work at its full potential, it works best alongside other nutrients that also cost pennies and that most men never associate with prostate health. The first is zinc. The human prostate has the highest concentration of zinc of any tissue in the body. This mineral is essential for testosterone synthesis, immune health, and regulation of the 5-alpha reductase enzyme. Studies show that men with BPH often have zinc deficiency. Supplementing with 25 to 30 milligrams per day can significantly enhance the effects of saw palmetto. The price? Around $4 to $6. The second nutrient is lycopene. You've probably heard that tomatoes are good for the prostate, and they are, but the compound responsible is lycopene, an antioxidant from the carotenoid family that concentrates in prostate tissue. It works by neutralizing free radicals that cause cellular damage and inflammation. A study from the Harvard School of Public Health followed nearly 50,000 male health professionals and found that frequent consumption of cooked tomatoes, which release more lycopene than raw ones, was associated with a significant reduction in prostate cancer risk. And for those who don't regularly eat tomatoes, supplementing with 10 milligrams of lycopene per day is a practical and inexpensive alternative. The third component rarely mentioned is quercetin. This flavonoid found in onions, apples, and other foods has powerful anti-inflammatory properties studied specifically in chronic prostatitis. A randomized clinical trial published in the journal Urology showed that men with chronic prostatitis who used quercetin for 1 month experienced significant symptom improvement compared to the placebo group. As a bonus, quercetin also improves peripheral blood circulation, which has direct implications for erectile health. Before we continue, if you're just joining this video or came through someone's recommendation, let me make you a quick invitation. Click the subscribe button below and turn on notifications. Every week, I publish content just like this. Science-based, straight to the point, and completely free. Each video could be the information someone you care about needs to make a better decision about their health. So subscribe now and stay with me because there's still a lot more to cover. Back to the protocol. There's a fourth element that rarely appears in discussions about prostate health but has growing scientific support: nettle root extract, also known by its scientific name, Urtica dioica. This plant contains bioactive compounds that bind to sex hormone binding globulin, SHBG. This blood protein acts like a trap for testosterone. It binds to it and makes it biologically inactive. The more SHBG you have, the less free testosterone circulates in your body. Nettle root extract competes with testosterone for this binding site, keeping more testosterone free and bioavailable. And when combined with saw palmetto, this complementary action creates a synergistic effect documented in several European studies. Now let's talk about something that is perhaps the most overlooked aspect of prostate health: lifestyle. No supplement in the world will work miracles if you continue feeding the systemic inflammation that accelerates prostate growth. And the main source of inflammation in the modern male diet is not what you might think. It's not red meat, it's not eggs, it's processed vegetable oils rich in omega-6, soybean oil, sunflower oil, corn oil. When heated, these oils produce aldehydes and other inflammatory compounds that damage cell membranes and promote systemic inflammation. Replacing them with extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, or ghee butter for cooking is a simple change with measurable impact. The second lifestyle factor with a direct impact on prostate health is physical inactivity. Sedentary behavior increases estrogen levels in men because fat tissue, especially abdominal fat, converts testosterone into estradiol through an enzyme called aromatase. More belly fat means more aromatase, more estrogen, more hormonal imbalance, and more stimulation of prostate growth. 30 minutes of walking per day, 5 times a week, is enough to partially reverse this process. No gym needed, just movement. The third factor is sleep. Poor sleep raises cortisol levels. Chronically elevated cortisol suppresses testosterone production. With less testosterone, hormonal balance worsens. And sleep deprivation also increases systemic inflammation, worsening BPH. It's a vicious cycle. Ironically, BPH makes you wake up at night to urinate, which worsens sleep, which worsens BPH. Breaking this cycle starts with the nutritional protocol we discussed, but also requires good sleep hygiene: a dark room, cool temperature, no screens at least an hour before bed, and consistent sleep and wake times. Now let's address something that may be taboo but needs to be said. Male sexual health and prostate health are closely connected, not just because they share the same organs and nerve pathways. Studies show that men who maintain regular sexual activity, either with a partner or through healthy masturbation, have lower incidence of prostatitis and lower risk of prostate cancer. The theory is that regular ejaculation helps clear the prostate of stagnant fluids that can become a breeding ground for inflammation and infection. A study published in European Urology following nearly 32,000 men over 18 years found that those who ejaculated 21 or more times per month had a significantly lower risk of prostate cancer than those who ejaculated fewer than 7 times per month. Now let me tell you something the pharmaceutical industry would rather you never discover: the systemic cost of conventional treatment. When you start taking finasteride for your prostate, you enter a loop. The medication reduces DHT, relieving prostate symptoms, but also reduces testosterone available for other tissues. Libido drops, erectile function worsens. Many men then take a PDE5 inhibitor like sildenafil to compensate. Then they may need an antidepressant because hormonal imbalance affects mood. Then cholesterol medication because low testosterone promotes lipid accumulation, and the list grows. Each treated symptom creates another side effect that requires another drug. That's not health, that's symptom management disguised as treatment. The natural protocol we're discussing works differently because it addresses causes, not effects. When you reduce excessive conversion of testosterone into DHT with saw palmetto, you're not suppressing testosterone, you're redirecting it. The testosterone that would become aggressive DHT remains bioavailable. The result? A healthier prostate and more active testosterone. A double benefit no conventional medication offers. But I need to be equally honest about the limits of this protocol. It does not replace medical diagnosis. If you have severe urinary symptoms, especially acute retention, pain during urination, blood in urine or semen, or rising PSA levels, you need urgent urological evaluation. This protocol works best as prevention, as a complement to responsible medical care, and for men with mild to moderate BPH symptoms. For advanced conditions, it may help, but it's not enough on its own. Transparency is the least you deserve. Now let's build the complete protocol in practical terms. The basic protocol includes standardized saw palmetto extract at 320 milligrams per day, preferably with 85 to 95% fatty acids. This should be on the label. Combine it with zinc, chelated or gluconate at 25 milligrams per day, taken with food. Add lycopene to 10 milligrams per day, preferably with a fat-containing meal for better absorption. And include nettle root extract at 300 to 600 milligrams per day. The advanced protocol adds quercetin 500 milligrams twice daily, high-quality omega-3, EPA plus DHA at 2 to 3 grams per day, and vitamin D3 at 4,000 to 5,000 IUs per day. Vitamin D is relevant because receptors for it exist in prostate tissue, and deficiency, very common in modern men, is associated with higher risk of prostate cancer and BPH. Results are not immediate. Saw palmetto in particular requires consistency. Most studies show significant improvements between 6 and 12 weeks of continuous use. Manage your expectations. Don't quit after 2 weeks. Total cost? The basic protocol comes out to under $30 for 2 months, less than $15 per month. Compared to conventional medication and side effects, that's almost absurdly low. There's also a sixth element worth mentioning: rye pollen extract, commonly known by the product name Sernalton. Studies published in high-impact urology journals show significant improvement in BPH and chronic prostatitis symptoms. It's especially useful for men with chronic pelvic pain. It's not the cheapest option, but it has strong evidence behind it. Let's also talk about something rarely mentioned: emotional health. Chronic stress keeps your nervous system in overdrive, increasing pelvic floor tension, which compresses the urethra and worsens urinary symptoms. Relaxation techniques, meditation, diaphragmatic breathing, and even pelvic floor therapy can help. This is physiology, not self-help talk. Hydration is another overlooked factor. Many men drink less water to avoid frequent urination, but this backfires. Concentrated urine irritates the bladder and increases urgency. The right approach is consistent hydration throughout the day, reducing intake only 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Aim for 2 to 2.5 liters daily. Before we finish, here's a critical fact. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men in Brazil, around 70,000 new cases per year. When detected early, cure rates approach 100%. Late detection is a different story. PSA tests and digital rectal exams starting at age 50 or 45 with family history are not optional, they're essential. This protocol complements but does not replace early detection. And here's the most important point of all. Men's health is neglected, not just by the system, but by men themselves. There's a culture of ignoring symptoms, avoiding care, pretending everything is fine. That kills slowly. Taking care of your prostate, sleeping well, moving your body, staying hydrated, managing stress, this is not weakness, it's intelligence, it's self-respect. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of most men. But don't keep this to yourself. Share this with someone who needs it.
a father, a friend, a brother. One video can change someone's quality of life. And before you go, ask yourself this, honestly. How many signals has your body been sending that you've been ignoring because you believe aging well is a matter of luck, not choice?